He calls his ding-dong, he calls his appendage his sword of thunder. They just were doing the naked twister way too much for me. Lying in the middle of traffic because I was ready to put my head through drywall reading this. He calls her shortbread. I need you to buckle in for today's YouTube video, guys, because I'm actually so excited because you know what? We get to do one of my favorite things sometimes, which is just be a hater for a bit, right? Like, I feel like if every now and then you're not being a hater, like, are you really living? It's just... Anyways, last week I did a video on my favorite books from each month so far this year, and I'm like, what the heck? Why don't I do my least favorite books from each month so far? And you're like, Mariana, you probably could have just combined that into one long video. Yes, I probably could have, but I decided, fun fact about me, I do give out 1 stars like I drink water, which is often. So I have quite a few least favorites for each month. So we're not gonna just be going through 1 book a month. Some months there are 1 book, others there's like 5. So I did not want to combine that with my favorite books. But before we get into that, okay, I will always say all opinions are welcome. Of course you're gonna disagree with me. Of course I'm gonna not like some of these books and some of them might be your favorites. That is the beauty of reading, is having different opinions and seeing books in a completely different light. And I respect that, and all opinions are welcome here. And just because I did not like a book does not at all mean I am telling you not to read it. I am always going to be 110% honest with you guys, to a fault sometimes. And it is my personal belief as a creator, as a reviewer of books, that it is so important to share with you guys my negative reviews as well as my positive ones, because there is no world in which everyone is loving all the books that they read. That's just how I stay true to myself, how I stay true to you guys, how I be as authentic as possible in this space. And I am never going to lie to you about a book I didn't like. And for some people, they enjoy that. Other people might think I am too negative. And you know what? To that, I say goodbye. First things first, we need to stay caffeinated. We are having a mini Alani because it's like 3 o'clock, so I didn't want to have a big one yet. Now, these are my least favorite reads of each month. So that doesn't mean that every single one is 1 star. Most of them are 1 star though, I'm gonna be completely honest. But towards the end of this year, I got better at choosing books. So I had a harder time like picking my least favorites, but the majority of the year it was not difficult at all. So if I don't give you their rating, just assume they're 1 star. For January, we have The Wrong Bride and Deviant King. Let's start with The Wrong Bride. I actually buddy read this with Larry. Oh God. This was a part of the Windsor series, and each book follows a different couple. I did love the second book in this series. This is the first. So I do recommend, like, if you like billionaire romance, reading The Temporary Wife. But The Wrong Bride, listen, I love me a messy book. I love me some toxicity. I do, when it's done right. This one, for me personally, was done terribly. I hated this man, and I hated this FMC as well. Now, he's engaged to her sister. Nothing wrong with that. A little bit forbidden. Again, like I said, toxic. And she's been longing for him, pining for him, literally forever. And we find out when we get into his head that he's also been into her the entire time he's engaged. Once he finally does like get with her, what bothered me the most is how much she, her sister, okay, the girl he used to be engaged to, lingered around like a little fly I wanted to squash with my hands. She was god awful. I can't even explain how much I hated her. And it was just, there was so much back and forth, and I just didn't like it. I did not like that. The ending pissed me off like nothing else. Like, actually left the grossest taste in my mouth. The miscommunication was done so poorly. I hated all these characters with a burning passion. I guess I will tell you, spoiler, okay? Skip over this if you don't want to know. But in the end, the sister like pretended to be pregnant and say that the baby was his, which she was insane. It was so obviously not his, but he was like, oh, it might be. And I'm like, oh. And she lived with them. No, don't even get me started. No, I can't. Okay, then Deviant King. Okay, you guys know, if you have watched my videos before on dark romance, Rena Kent's books, I love so many of them. Legacy of God series, all of her mafia romance books, obsessed. Some of my favorite dark romance books ever. A lot of Rena Kent's other books, though, I am not the biggest fan of. They do not do it for me. The Royal Elite series being one of those series, okay? This is the first book, but it's the second book because Cruel King, which came before that, is almost like the prequel to it, which Cruel King I also hated. I hated even more. But Deviant King, I hated Cruel King, and that was in 2024 I read it, and I was like, okay, you know what, everyone says Cruel King isn't the best, like, but it's worth it, read Deviant King. And I'm like, okay, I also hated it. I did, which makes me so sad because Legacy of Gods is the like second gen series, and you read a lot about their parents in the Royal Elite series, and like, I just, me personally, I find a lot of Rena Kent's books to be very similar in a way that is just kind of like gets redundant. Just felt like a lot of books I have read before of hers. But also, I just did not like the MMC in this at all, Aiden King. He gave me the ick so bad, and how these kids act in high school is just, again, it's dark romance, it's fiction, it's not meant to be realistic, but like, yeah, just felt very lustful, too much spice, not enough, like the romance was just really lacking for me. So, and then in February we have 3, okay? We'll start with what I think is my least favorite read of the entire year, to be quite honest. And that is, guys, don't come for me. Listen, don't come for me. I know this is such a well-loved dark romance book and series. Like, this is such an unpopular opinion, I know. The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. This is the first book in the Lord series. And listen, I am a dark romance girly. I love me my dark romance. It wasn't that it was too dark. It wasn't that I had an issue with like the consensual non-consent. I've read that before. I could not stand these two characters, and I could not stand the romance. I couldn't find the romance. My thing, this was a couple, okay, that I'm like, they did not stay together. They got divorced. Like, they did not stay together after this book. This was just for me personally, this was too much smut. I felt like every other chapter, they were just getting down and dirty. Their first meeting, clothes are off. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just not the type of, like, even with dark romance, like, I still need to feel their romantic connection, and this just was insta-lust and too much spice to the point where I'm like, when are we gonna have a conversation? Like, this man still didn't even take her out on a date. Riot. No. Do you guys hear that truck outside? It's pissing me off. So yeah, that was just, you know, they just were doing the naked twister way too much for me. This was long too. The plot, like, I do hear it gets better in the second book with the Secret Society. I'm just like, Anyways, then we have Deep End by Ellie Hazelwood. I wanted to love this. I did. Again, with the characters just pissing me off. At first, I really liked the MMC in this, but again, his ex-girlfriend, okay, so they're together in the beginning, but they're not. They broke up, but no one knows that they broke up. His ex is like one of her good friends, and they're on the swim team together. It's his ex that kind of like encourages them to explore their kinks together, which, cool, great. A little bit weird. Come to find out, while he was dating his ex, he was like bringing up like having a threesome with the FMC, like to his girlfriend constantly. It was just kind of, it just was weird. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It just made me feel weird. And I didn't like how once they started to develop feelings for each other, she didn't tell her friend. A big plot point was like her being, they're divers, they're not swimmers, sorry. Was her being like terrified of diving because she had a recent accident, and she's working, I loved like the therapy representation, like she's been working through this in therapy for so long and just really struggling with it, but then all of a sudden the MMC comes along and like he magically heals that trauma in her. I don't like that. Things just started to get messier in the end with them not communicating with her friend. Then the ex just starting to linger around. Other woman drama is sometimes fine if it's warranted. This, I just felt like it wasn't warranted. I also felt like the romance was lacking chemistry as well. So yeah, I just don't think I'm the biggest fan of Ellie Hazelwood books. I didn't like Bride, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna read another Ellie Hazelwood book. Like, if I'm reading just a romance book and I don't feel the connection between the couple and it just feels like there's a lot of like messy miscommunication that is unnecessary, not for me. I've decided I'm gonna try and keep it to just 3 max per month going through, or else we'll be here forever. But the third one for February is Vicious Hearts. I also started to buddy read this with Larry because this is a dark mafia romance series, the second book in a series. But I buddy read that with Larry and it was good. It was like 3.5 stars. I can't really remember. And it was good enough for me to want to read the next one because each book follows a different couple and I love dark mafia romance. This one, also, you'll see a pattern here, insta-lust, not my thing. Instantly, he was like, yeah, that's mine. Love Captor Captive, and that's what it was, but there was no buildup. There was no tension leading up. She was set out to unalive him, and then he caught her, and they were just instantly connected. And this is age gap, and I'm like, great, love an age gap, but not when he calls her little girl, and not when he's obsessed with how young she is the whole time and talks about it the whole time. Not my thing, personally. Gives me the ick. This was like pulling teeth to get through. If there's no tension involved in the romance, like if I don't feel like they're have to work for it at all, I'm just like, what is the point? There has been a truck outside for God knows how long that is so loud, so hopefully you guys don't hear that as much as I do. Okay, going into March. March. We were also like, there was a period, like after reading Onyx Storm, like I was in such a slump. Like the first half of the year, no, every month, the majority of the books I read, even though I read some of my favorite books ever this year, the majority of the books I read like the first half of this year made me want to like fling myself off the Empire State Building. Okay, then wait, when are we? We're in March. Oh, I have 4 written down. I'm going to do 3. Oh yeah, consider me. Okay, consider me. Consider me lying in the middle of traffic because I was ready to put my head through drywall reading this. This is the first book in the Playing for Keeps series, which is hockey romance. The ick I ucked. And listen, there is a fine line for me. Like I either love or hate sports romance because there is an element of cheesiness to sports romance. And if it's done right, where it's almost, you're not cringing, you're like, oh, that was cheesy, but like, I love them, it's cute. I feel like that with the off-campus series. That's why I'm scared for the off-campus series to come to life because there are a lot of scenes where I'm like, that was cheesy, but like, I love them. Seeing that play out on screen, I just know I'm gonna get the ick so bad. Anyways, he's like a reformed playboy and he is so obsessed with himself. And I do love it when like the former playboy changes for her, which he does, and I love that. But like this man is so obsessed with himself. I couldn't handle it. It was, no. And he calls his ding dong, he calls his appendage his sword of thunder. He calls his appendage his sword of thunder. Reel it in. He also calls her pipsqueak. I don't have a problem when the FMC is small and it's like part of her character and like development and it means something. But when it is just so hyper focused on how itsy bitsy teeny tiny itty witty she is, when she's doing it, when he's doing it, when everyone's doing it, it gives me, why haven't I been picked yet? And that was what I was getting. And it was so annoying. This book was long. The third act breakup too. I don't mind third act breakups. I actually like them a lot of the time. But when they're only when they're necessary. When it's so stupid and just based off of miscommunication, I was so done. This book was so long and then we get the most baseless third act breakup. No. We also have Kiss the Villain. Guys, at the end of the day, I am the problem when it comes to Rena Kent books because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a 6th, 7th, 8th time, I am a fool. I need to just stop. I need to stop reading these because it's just, it just felt, Kiss the Villain, first of all, it was too much spice for me. And this is Dark Romance, and I was just not a fan of Caden at all. He had like no redeemable, likable qualities to me personally. I did like Gareth actually, like I liked him. I thought he was funny and crazy and psycho. I hated the plot twists that will completely spoil the whole book, so I'm not going to tell you that. Like I hated that. There were a lot of things that I felt like were thrown in for shock value and not really necessary. It felt too much like there were like bits and pieces of her other like super popular books that she was trying to throw in there. Felt in some places copy and paste, and I just, yeah. No. Okay, last but not least is Indigo Ridge. Guys, I did not, this is a romantic suspense series. I was not suspended anywhere. There was no suspense to be had. This was so predictable, and I think I might just not be a romantic suspense girly. Also, guess what it was? Insta-lust. Like so extremely insta-lust, very, very beginning. And so they had no chemistry for me. Romantic suspense plot line, like it was small town. It was so predictable that I was so bored. Like, and I could not even hone in on the romance because it just felt fake. So, ugh. Getting into April, you're like, Mariana, it has to get better. No. No, it does not. We'll start with Gold, the second to last book in the Play to Prisoner series. The first book is Guild. This is a very popular fantasy romance series. Now, listen, Guild, Glint, and Gleam, first 3 books, loved. Guild was like 4 stars. It was a little bit slow to get into, but I was so like intrigued and invested in what was happening. Glint and Gleam, oh my God, obsessed. Gleam was so good. Glow was like 3.5 stars. It was either 3 or 3.5 stars. It felt a little bit fillery. It felt a bit dragged out. I was just itching for the book to move forward, and there were new POVs added that I just like could not connect with, felt a bit unnecessary. But I still like, I loved like Slade and Oren, the FMC and MMC. I loved them. And like, I really did love the other books. So, you know, a 3.5, it's still good. It was still good. It just compared to the others, I'm like, ugh, like I feel like a lot of this was filler. It's a dark King Midas retelling. So she is gold, and everything she touches turns to gold. And King Midas, he keeps her in a cage, and it's like a bit sick and twisted. This is also super slow burn. Slade, I love him. Some people, like, I don't like comparing anyone to anyone. Like, I don't think you should, you can't. Like, a lot of people say, like, he's so much better than Xaden, which obviously you guys know Xaden Ryerson is my man. I don't think anyone could top him. Like, everyone's opinions are completely different. I love him. I personally am not, like, obsessed with him as a book boyfriend, but I still love him. Like, he still makes me giggle and kick my feet. Like, he's still that guy. Like, if you put him as your number 1, I get it. Like, I get it. Gold, though, I felt like we completely lost the plot. Again, I gave it 1 star. It was so long and drawn. This was entirely filler. This could have been an email. Aside from that, what I'm gonna say from here on out, I can't tell you why, because this is the 5th book in a series. I can't explain why without spoilers. So this is now just all gonna be spoilers. Skip to the next book. If you plan on reading this, don't wanna know, but now spoilers, okay? The end of, oh, I hate when this happens. Some of my least favorite tropes in romantasy specifically, but we are in the middle of the series and they get completely separated at the end of book 4. So I knew going into this they weren't going to be together long, but Slade and Oren spent this entire book apart. They did not reunite in this, what was this, like 800 something page book? They did not reunite at all. We are in the thick. We're in the second to last book in a fantasy romance series. That was a super slow burn. They're finally together and we can't have them. That pissed me off. And then in the very end, guess what? She loses her memories. She loses her fucking memories in the very end. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What was the reason? Before they even reunite, she loses her memories? No. We have Oren just like gallivanting around the Fey world doing nothing. Slade, he was like so hot in the beginning. He's like burning the world down trying to find her, loved her. But then it just became so redundant. His whole POV, the whole time, just like being so unproductive, going on his rage arc, which I loved in the beginning for a time. And then I hated it. It got boring. The other POVs, don't even get me started. So unnecessary. Queen Melina, do not care. So no. No, we're not gonna be reading the last book. I'm so sorry. Then we have My Dark Romeo. This is arranged marriage. Would I call this dark romance? I don't think so. Is it? It's like mildly dark. To me, it wasn't dark, but it might be classified as dark romance. Maybe it is. This is part of a series, interconnected standalones, billionaire romance. I know that. He calls her Shortbread. His nickname for her is Shortbread. So here is the thing about this one. This was just, he gave me the ick so bad that I did not care about anything else happening. I did not like him. I thought he was awful. He was sleazy. I just did not like the MMC at all. And then I felt like the FMC was just kind of there. The same thing with a lot of the other dark romances. Like, if I don't feel their chemistry, if I do not care, like, I'm done for. And this man giving me the ick. Why did he call her fucking Shortbread? Why did he have to call her short? That was it. I was goner from there. Last but not least for April, we have Priest. Guys, this was absolutely not. No. No. As you can expect, this is also dark romance, interconnected standalones. He is a priest, and she comes to his confession. He's obviously not allowed to love, but he falls in love with her. Yeah, no. It was just so much smut. We don't get her POV at all. We're only in his head, and I just felt like he was lusting after her the whole time. The 3rd act breakup was so dumb. How he spoke about her was really weird. I did not like this. He also called her Little Lamb and was obsessed with her white, creamy skin. Kept pointing at it. Oh, no. Like, this book was probably 90% smut. Like, I'm not even kidding. Just no. In May, Jesus Christ. Okay, first we have Bittersweet Memories. No. There is a big plot point in this, plot twist you could call it, that will spoil this whole book, so I'm not gonna go too into detail. But in the beginning, she's 16 and he's 21 and he is already like making sexual jokes towards her. They don't do anything when she's underage, but like he's already thinking about her in that way in his head. Red flag for me, something traumatic and insane happens. And then she ends up dating his brother. So we also have like a second chance kind of situation going on here. And like his brother is just god awful. It's like, it is toxic and messy. Everything, you ever just read a book and you're like, this is so uncomfortable? The whole entire thing is miscommunication. Like so dumb. If you hate when you're reading a book and you're like, why didn't you just say this? If you just said this, everything would have been fine. And this girl, I just was so dumb. You're like, girl, are you real? Like, are you for real right now? I literally hated this book so much. This was uncomfy, weird, unnecessary. Ugh, no. Oh, here's the line where I was like, this is 1 star. When she's 16, he goes, have you ever sucked D? Sweet girl. Straight to jail. In June, we have Behind the Net. And this is funny because this is the first book in a hockey romance series. What's it called? The Vancouver Storm series. And I started this series with the second book in the series because they're all interconnected standalone. So I read The Fake Out, which I loved. 4 stars. And then I jumped to the 4th book, Gloves Off, 5 stars. Hockey romance perfection. So I was jumping around and then I was like, I'm gonna go back and read the first one. I did read the third one after and I gave it like 3 stars. It was good, but it was like average. Like I still recommend this series, just maybe not this first one. He called her Songbird. The nicknames in this series are bad, I'm not gonna lie. Songbird, not a fan. This was so cheesy. I didn't feel their chemistry at all. This was Grumpy Sunshine. He's like the grumpy goalie. She ends up being his assistant and they went to high school together and he's had a crush on her since high school. Nothing happened. It was just super average and too corny and cheesy for me and a whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of, hey, here's absolutely fucking nothing for you. Okay. Oh, bitch, then let's fucking talk about it. Also, what month are we in? Is it the month of June? Leave Me Behind. No, because this was dark romance and I literally had not seen a single negative review of this. And usually when that happens, for some reason, for me, it's a red flag that I'm like, I'm gonna hate it. It doesn't mean it's not well loved. Like, it's obviously very well loved. Not by me, okay? This is a like dark military romance. He's essentially like her leader in the new division she goes into. It's not often that I'm reading a book and wish it's reverse harem because I hate reverse harem, but the dynamics in this made me like, I was hoping it was going to be a throuple because I just hated how everything was playing out. I just need to give full spoilers on why I hated this so much. So again, skip ahead if you plan on reading this or if you just don't want the spoilers. Something that gave me rubbed me the wrong way so bad was after she sleeps with him, the MMC, she immediately gets with his brother and don't get it twisted because there's nothing wrong. They weren't together. She did not owe this man anything. They're not together literally at all. So that was it. It was the fact that they never had a conversation about it. Like she never brought it up with him ever, not once. And she was constantly comparing the brothers over and over and over again to the point where I was like, is this gonna be a throuple? I'm so confused. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that she just like never said anything. I didn't like how she compared them all the time. I hated it. Then don't even get me started on the ending. This was so unnecessary and out of pocket for no reason. She sleeps with the man she used to be in love with right in front of, in the same room as her current lover, the MMC, because she thinks it's the only way it's going to get him to leave her for his own safety. She does it to protect him, but that did not need to happen. It did not. It was so unnecessary and literally so out of pocket. Then for 3 years, the couple is separated. They're not together. During those 3 years, she is living with her old lover, her old man's. They are living together. She's living the life of luxury. Just like, what do you mean? Until the MMC shows up and saves her out of nowhere. And then her old lover, she like confesses her love for him on his deathbed and then just goes off and gets back with the MMC. Keeps a picture framed in her home with her kid, okay, and her husband, a picture framed of her and her old lover, and she's kissing him. I'm sorry? No, that was so fucked up. I hated everything about it. You guys, July was actually so bad. It was so bad that was, I think, my worst month of the year. I have 5 books written down that I couldn't choose between that were all. These are 5 1-stars. Anyway, we'll start with just my least favorites. My least favorite out of all these 1-stars was Trust Me Always. Again, I am a fool for this, okay? Because this is the 3rd book in a series. The first book is Say You Swear, which I absolutely love. This is contemporary romance, sports romance, interconnected standalone. Say You Swear is incredible. And I'm just convinced it's a fluke because I did read the 2nd book in the series. 2nd book, 1 star. Absolutely not. And I was like, you know what? 3rd book, maybe the 2nd book was just a fluke. Maybe I'm gonna love the 3rd book. No. I can't even explain how icky this book is. Like, if you hate the like TikTok references and like, it just, it's so cringy. This is supposed to be, it's like fake dating. The fake dating is so bad. It's a love triangle too. And it's just, I felt bad for the guy you knew she wasn't gonna end up with. That you never, like, I didn't really like him, but she just treated him so poorly. And it was just like, why? Like, why are you just stringing this dude along for no reason? And then it's like friends to lovers. Her and her best friend can't communicate to save their lives. There was no tension. Like, I felt like they were friends the whole time. I never really felt like they had any chemistry. The 2nd love interest, he just lingered for no reason and just got like dragged around. This truck outside's about to be my 13th reason. Okay, guys, then we have the Charlie Method. I should not have read this, okay? What is this series called? Well, the first book in this series, interconnected standalone hockey romance, the first book, The Graham Effect, is one of my favorite Elle Kennedy books. I think it's probably my favorite Elle Kennedy book. That was a 2nd gen book, so it was Garrett Graham's daughter. This is the same author of the Off Campus series. So I loved the first book. The 2nd book, The Dixon Rule, I hate it. And so I'm like, you know what, I gotta try. It was the same thing. I'm like, maybe the 2nd book was just a fluke. So let me try the Charlie Method. This was a throuple. This was MFM. The guys are best friends. They're hockey teammates. Their first meeting, they're making out. Like, this was also super insta-lust. There was not a lick of romance. Like, I did not feel any love between any of them. Like, they were questioning if they loved each other the whole time. And it was really, what was the weirdest part to me is like I'm not the biggest fan of Why Choose, but it was done so poorly because she so obviously had more chemistry and liked one of the guys more, and one of the guys got so much more like page time than the other. And so one of them just felt like he was just like on the sideline, and I felt bad for him. Who had the most chemistry were the 2 guys in this. I knew it was a throuple going in. I didn't know whether or not the guys like had a relationship or whatnot. I didn't know that going in. So I was expecting the guys to like end up being together as well. They weren't. And that was such a, like, it felt like such a missed opportunity to me. And a whole lot of nothing happened. And then the ending just smacked you in the face and was so unnecessary for no, it felt like it was like, what the twist was like for shock value, and really pissed me off. Hey, we're in a new location because I had to switch. It was so loud down there. That truck has been there the whole video. I'm getting so overstimulated and distracted. So now we're in my bedroom. It's still a bit loud, but I think it's better than being right next to my window. Anyway, it's pissing me off so bad. I'm like, what are you doing out there? Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, the Charlie Method. Yeah, just no. Ooh, what to pick because there's so many bad ones. I have to do Braving the Storm. This is small town cowboy romance, interconnected standalone series. The first book in this series was Chasing the Wild, and Chasing the Wild was ex-boyfriend's dad. It was spicy. It was an ovulation read for me. It was an ovulation book. It was like 3.5 stars. It was so spicy, but like it was right book, right time. This, they're all kind of taboo. This, I was looking for an ovulation read as well. I knew it was going to be super spicy, big age gap. This is, he's not her uncle, okay? Because it's her dad's adopted brother. So there's no blood relation, but she still calls him uncle, even though there's no blood relation, and he calls her his niece. Anyways, this was awful. He does call her Little Thorn, which is just terrible. Let me just tell you about their meet cute real quick. This man goes into his home. He notices that there's like a girl there. And he's like, oh, this must be one of the many girls I'm sleeping with. He goes into the room that she's in. She's turned around. Okay, so he can't see her face. Without saying anything, he bends her over. Okay, and he starts to unbuckle his belt. Very last minute before he whips his schlong out, right? She turns around, they make eye contact, and he's like, That's my niece. So obviously that was the meet cute, right? And she is living at his home with him. So it's forced proximity. And let me just say this. Too much smut, too much ick. The way he was obsessed with the fact that he was her uncle and would call her niece during spicy time and she would call him uncle. No. What in the fuck? Absolutely not. I'm just gonna stop there. Okay, this is when we shifted, okay? August is when things shifted for the better because I started being more intentional. We shifted gears and we just started reading better books, reading less shitty books, and it has been so much better since. So I only have one book for this month, my least favorite, and it was 3 stars. This was not like, I'm not gonna sit here and shit all over this. I didn't hate it. I liked it, I had a fun time. It was so average. Would I recommend it? Maybe. I don't know, but this was One Cursed Rose. Again, I gave it 3 stars. This was a spicy Beauty and the Beast retelling. The fantasy aspects didn't play a huge role in it, but like it was still fantasy. It was still fantasy romance. This was a giggle and kick your feet, spicy fun time. The MMC will make you giggle. Like, he was so unhinged and funny about it. He was so nonchalant about how crazy he was. And like I said, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so he kind of like takes her. I'm a sucker for a captor-captive moment, and there was good banter. Like, it was just super fast-paced and easy to read, but nothing revolutionary. And I was just so happy. This was my first month without a 1 star. I didn't have a single 1 star. I also read Red Rising in August, so that was my whole month, essentially. And those were all like 5 and 6 stars. So then in September, I already talked about this in my September wrap up, so I don't want to like sound like a broken record. I go into more detail about, I don't really want to talk about this book too much, but this was the Jasad Crown. Now listen, this is a duology. The first book was Jasad Heir. This is a fantasy romance. This is true enemies to lovers, like real actual enemies to lovers. Jasad Heir, book 1, I was obsessed with. I loved it. So you're like, Mariana, how could Jasad Crown be 1 star? I got a lot of backlash for how I reviewed this in my TikTok video. When I did my TikTok review, I did wrongly interpret the magic system. I mentioned how I thought that the magic system wasn't good, and that just like wasn't the case. I just didn't fully understand it. And people are like really kind about, hey, like it wasn't that it wasn't good, you just like didn't grasp it. Like, great. Like sometimes if I'm not agreeing with the book and I don't like it and I'm bored and I'm having a hard time, certain things will go over my head. And so like, call me out on that. Great. Like, I was wrong. Fine. Call me dumb. That's great. Who cares? However, I still did not enjoy that book for many other reasons. Like, that wasn't the primary reason why this book was 1 star. I felt like there was a lot of filler. I felt like it just felt very slow to me. The pacing like really slowed down. And we had new POVs, which I get, people loved that and loved those characters. I understood that they were in there for a reason. And obviously that all came together in the end, but I couldn't connect with them. And I think like because they were a big part of the story and me not being able to connect with the new POVs, it really removed me from the story. I felt like it got a bit repetitive. I felt like there were too many pieces that were drawn out, like that could have been wrapped up quicker. The romance in this, I don't know. I felt like they lost that chemistry I fell in love with in book 2. Again, this is all just my opinion. Long story short, I've got so much hate for not liking this book, and it really made me feel disappointed that people were just accusing me of not reading this book and just being too dumb to understand it and not getting it. It's like, no, this was just my opinion, and it's valid. Not liking a book is valid. If people can't understand that, regardless of if I explained the magic system incorrectly, doesn't matter. I'm still allowed to not like a book. Everyone is allowed to not like books and voice their opinions on why they didn't like said books. Ugh, that shit pisses me off. So I can't stand book talk 95% of the time. Like, it is just insane to me how hateful people are for no fucking reason. It pisses me off like nothing else. Oh, it's so dumb. Anyway, I also felt like the ending was so rushed, and how it ended, I won't tell you. It was gonna be 2 stars, but the ending, some people will see it, think it's beautiful and love it. I was so pissed. The ending, I was so mad. It felt so unfinished. I'm like, all of that? For that? For that? No. Okay. Anyway, I'm done. Before people get mad at me. And last but not least, because we're only in October, obviously there's gonna be least favorites in November, December. You'll find out about that Where, how, in my wrap-ups, you'll know. But, okay, here's the thing. As of October 24th, I don't have any books that I did not like this month. As of right now, I have no books under 4 stars. I still have a full week left, so that could change. Okay, so remember when I sat here and told you that there weren't any books in October that I rated under 4 stars? Well, okay, so it's Sunday now, and that was on Friday, and I read another book, and I gave it 3.5 stars. This is my least favorite book of the month, and I even hate to say that because, like, compared to all of the books I just completely shat on, like, this is really good. A 3.5 star, like, I liked it. So why am I even sitting here? Anyway, because I feel like I need to give you at least one book that was my least favorite. It just feels so out of, off theme of this whole entire video because I still liked it. Anyway, okay, I'm just gonna say it anyway. It was Exorcism of Fairies. Bailey, don't get mad at me. This was one of Bailey's recommendations for me because I still liked it. 3.5 stars is good, guys. I enjoyed it. Like the 60% of it was gonna be 4 stars, and then I started to get really bored. I feel like people could love this. Like, I would still recommend it in a way, even though I got bored. But this was dark academia, gothic romance. It's set in like the early 90s in Scotland. And the FMC is a grad student. She's also a mortician. There's this plague going around, and she's been secretly like handing off bodies that have been infected by the plague over to this secret society to try and figure out what is going on and like what's happening. So it was really cool. And then the romance aspect is, I don't want to say it's professor student because he's not her professor. He just is a professor. He's a professor and she's the TA for him. I think the romance I really liked in the beginning, but it got a bit boring. Like it was definitely, it felt from his perspective like a bit insta-lovey. So I feel like that's why, like, the plot was good and I liked that and I was really invested in that. I wasn't as invested in the romance though, but the romance isn't the hugest focus. So it didn't matter so much to me. But then it became really predictable, like what was going to happen. That's why it fell from a 4 star to 3.5 because I just knew what was going to happen in the end, so I checked out a bit, but it's really short. It was like 400 pages, and I still liked it, and I liked the vibes. Like, it's a really good fall, like, spooky read, but there's gonna be a second book coming out, and I have no desire to read it. Like, I'm good. Like, tie a bow on it, don't need to return to that world. Not a bad book by any means. Like, I would still recommend it. Anyways, wow, I feel so cleansed. Oh my God, the truck just left. It just left. Oh, that fucking truck. Anyway, yeah, there's gonna be, like, as a reader, there's just gonna be certain plot points and tropes and things that happen that I just consistently hate. So I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I fear there's no avoiding it. Specific things will make me give a book 1 star. Like, it's just how it is. I can't. I'm the problem. Anyway, if you stayed this whole time for me just being a hater, I love that. Like, I appreciate that so much. I, like, feel like a new person. Next year is gonna be better. We're not gonna fall victim to choosing awful books again. Because, no, I probably will. I'm just a girl at the end of the day. Anyway, I'm gonna go be horizontal. I'm gonna go finish Sinners Atone. I'm so excited. It's Friday. I have no plans, which is the best type of Friday. I'm gonna go have a sweet treat. I might get some takeout. Anyways, go be horizontal, go read a book, and ignore the outside world because nothing else matters.